1 minute after 10, so we'll get started with the first round of home-based meetups. I'm always excited to start our week off with home-based meetups, and I'm going to turn this over to Rob Dietrich, the home-based manager. So we'll go over our opening slides, and I did paste in the chat the links to all our slides and the other areas we'll be going to today. And Rob, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Cammie. I appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend, and what a great way to start the week than to get together and talk about home base, and what a great way to start us off with Cammie leading the way. So I do want to thank everybody for being here. We do have our opening session slides. As we do, please note there's a sign in the bottom right corner and a link there for you to please make sure you sign in. And if you want to copy the slides, you see the link there for the slides as well. Next slide, please, Cammie. I think I can move through this fairly quickly today. As you can see, we have a very large digital footprint that we have out there. You have all our call signs, I guess, the @North Carolina Home Base, @NCDPI-DTL, our Facebook at facebook.com/North Carolina Home Base. These are great places that you can learn a lot about what home base has to offer. We're going to talk about that more here in just a few slides. And again, you sign in and slides and WebEx. Thank you. And that is our wonderful home base team. There's Pam Batchelor's personal room there. You can see she's at the beach currently, at least digitally. Please, if you have any questions, enter them via the QA. Only the panelists will see your questions, or you can do it through the chat where you interact with us during the webinar. And please remember that all participants can see the chat. And then if you have the video, you can start your video there. Next slide, please. Remember, the home-based meetups are here for you. This is to foster a productive relationship between DPI and the field, and this is a great way for us to communicate product-specific information. We want your feedback, so please give us questions. Please ask away. We want to make sure that we're providing the best possible products for you. And we're here to provide collaborative time problem solving and networking, which is a little more difficult virtually, but we still want to get together and do that. And we also want to provide coordination between DPI groups that serve the end users of home base. Next slide, please. We are going to follow the same agenda we did last time. You will get a welcome from advisory, I believe, in the next product session. You're getting home base updates now. And at the end of the updates, there will be 1 hour of training offered so that you can receive a CEU credit. And again, one thing that I think happened last time is in some cases we rushed through the updates to get to the training, and we will do our best to keep you under the 2 hours. But if the updates are going long and you guys have lots of questions, it may run a little over, but that's because we want to make sure we answer all your questions. Next slide, please. And for the week, you see that today is the NCEES, SchoolNet is tomorrow, PowerSchool and Learning.com are Wednesday. You get a double dose of home base. And then on Thursday is Canvas, and then on Friday is Go Open NC. Next slide. And we are in the second home-based meetup of the current non-traditional school year. This week, the next one will be in February after we get through all the holidays, and then we will meet up again in April. So please make sure you keep your calendars open because we think it's important to see you. Next slide. One thing I will continue to point out is Homebase is a product of the digital, is part of the Homebase digital teaching and learning, and therefore we want to make sure that you're aware of all the resources out there that digital teaching and learning has. We are a portion of that, and you see you have the remote learning resources page, you have the digital teaching and learning page, as well as lighting our way forward, which is our way through all this COVID-19 that we are currently dealing with. Next slide, please. And we also have our home base slide. Our home base website is where you can go to get all the information you need about all the products we offer from Canvas, Go Open, Imagine Math, Learning.com, NCEES. and PowerSchool. It is a very good place for you to go to get QRDs, learn about future webinars. It's just a very good place for you. Next slide, please. This, if you've been watching home-based media on social media, you should see that you've seen some things pop up here lately. We've had some webinars that are offered, and you should see some Did You Knows pop up. You see one there for Canvas, for NCEES, for Go Open, and for Learning.com. We are trying to make sure and get these things out to you through our Facebook page, our Instagram account, so that you can make sure you're keeping up to speed with everything you know about home-based. Next slide, please. So we have a Did You Know that is going to come out throughout the day. Every Wednesday, you'll get home-based topics, links to a lot of good resources. Please remember to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and follow us on Twitter. I want you to help us get to 500 likes. With all the people that watch this, if everybody liked us, I think we can get there by the end of the week. So I would really appreciate that if you guys would please go to all our sites and view them and follow us there. Next slide, please. I do want to give you some key information about some of the home-based products that we have. Learning.com, the Tier 1 funds will revert back on November 30th if they're not spent, so please make sure that you are spending all those dollars. Imagine Math, we have 28 slots available. If you are interested, please email Dr. Carmela Fair. And we have 2 webinars upcoming on November 20th and November 23rd to help it so you understand what that product can do for you, especially with the live tutoring that they offer. Next slide, please. Sorry about that. Give me 1 second. We have Canvas funding out there for PRC 165 and 166. There was a webinar that was held by Jill Darrow and Pam Batchelor on Friday of last week, and I have put a link to that recording there where it says here, and you can view that to help understand how those funds are going to work for you. And then the PowerSchool, we have the core contacts coming in January, and there's an upgrade to 1911.2.3 in December. If you are watching this and you are a PowerSchool person, please know that this is a very minor upgrade. There's very subtle changes, and it isn't like moving to a completely different version like we plan on doing during the summer. Next slide, please. And please remember, as I have seen you guys doing every time after we have this, you are reaching out to make sure we have the right people listed so that if people reach out to you, that we have the right people listed. I think it's important everybody knows who those contacts are. So please continue to reach out to us and email Yolanda about getting the right people listed for the right leads. We know people change all the time as far as jobs out there. All right, next slide, please. Excuse me. As we go through the week, the slide that you will see from our home-based folks will be listed here. And today you've got Cammie, I believe slide deck is already up there. And then John will put his up, and then Justin, Audrey, Pam, and Pam again on Friday. And then that way everybody slide deck by the end of the week, you have a full picture of what has happened with the home-based meetups. Next slide. Last thing from my end on the opening, we will not see you again. So I want to say a happy Thanksgiving to you and a happy holidays for everyone out there. If there's one thing I can say, I don't think that I have worked harder in my life than I have the last 6 months since all of this has happened. So what I look forward to is a very restful next week where we can take some time off, put the computers away, be with family, and hope that you have a very good, happy Thanksgiving and be thankful for all the good things you have in your life. Thank you very much. And the last slide is our wonderful home-based team that we are very happy to be here for you and work for you. And you'll notice that last name on there is Russell Dixon. He is back for us, and he is helping us with some PowerSchool upgrade. And we are very excited to have him back, and we think that he is a huge help to us to make sure that everything is moving smoothly. Cammie, I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to speak this morning, and please take it away.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you for joining us and doing our opening slides today. All right, I'm going to escape out of here, get to our other slides. And we are doing NCEES today. And did you guys have any questions for Rob before we head over there? I see a thank you, Rob, from Eleanor. All right, I think we're good. Your links are in the chat. If you need those posted again, let us know. If you need to talk later, we'll try to unmute you so that you can unmute yourself. We may do that when we get into our Padlet activity. So let's get started with our NCEES session. All right, so here's our agenda for today. We just did the opening slides, and I'm going to turn this over to Brian in just 1 second so he can do our welcome. And then we have a 15 minutes updates from me. Hopefully I can fit that in 15 minutes, and then we'll get into our training sessions that we're trying here that do earn you a 0.1 certificate for those of you that can use that for licensing. And then we'll have your networking time at the end of the day. And let me see, Sherry, let me copy this real quick. Somebody needs the links, and there's the link in the chat again. I don't have the Q&A open. If you guys have any questions, please put those in the chat. All right, let's turn this over to Brian. And Brian, on Buncombe County. Brian, oops.
Thanks, Cammie, and welcome everyone. I see there's 40 people on our attendee list, so a good group today. I was just scrolling through the list, and many of the names I recognize, but there are some new ones out there that I don't recognize. So if you're new to NCEES, maybe you've been supporting it for months or maybe even a year or so, welcome. And if you're not part of our NCEES user group, I put my email address in the chat. If you would like to be added as a member, Cammie is a great resource, and she's 99% of the time able to find out why something is acting a little bit wonky in NCEES. But there's sometimes that there are things that maybe you would like to see in NCEES, and I'm all about transparency and bouncing ideas off of each other. And so I think that anytime that you have a question that you would like to get feedback from the group, we have over 200 users in the NCEES district admin user group. I would just encourage you to post your questions there. It's very easy. You'll get usually right answers from everybody else except for me. I usually give the wrong answer. So we all have different takes, and we all have different things that we look at NCEES and we think, how it should be, changed or looking at enhancements going forward. So I'm just one guy on the advisory committee. Welcome your feedback at any time. Again, welcome to those of you who are new. And on behalf of Dean, Erica, Sherry, and Angela, we want to hear from you. So reach out to us if we can be of any assistance. Thank you, Cammie.
Thank you, Brian. All right, and you have a slide in here. If you're not a member of that Google group, please do go out there and ask to join or email one of us, and we'll be glad to add you to that Google group. So thank you, Brian, for that welcome. All right, it's time for our Padlet activity, and let me get this copied, and we'll link out over there. If you've never been here before, we usually do a successes and challenges Padlet activity, and that link is going in the chat right now. And if you'll notice here, we have several columns that I'd like for you to fill in. We'll take maybe 5 minutes at the most to fill this in, and then we'll start going over what you've put in. So please, in the first column, if you're brand new, please introduce yourself in the first column. And anybody that's on our group today, we have 40. Any good news you want to share out or shout out or give a shout out about, please enter that in the first column. And before I finish reading out these columns, the way you add a topic is to click the plus sign. It will give you a note, and you can put in a title, and then you can write something. And then as people put notes in, you can heart them, or you can comment on them, and mark them that way. If you agree with somebody's note, then
Hey, Cami.
yes.
It may just be me, but I did click on that link in the chat, and I'm not seeing the pluses that are underneath the good news, successes, challenges. So I'm not sure if it
Okay.
looks, I can see where you put just a note,
All right.
but
Let
I
me
don't
make
see
sure
the
that you
plus
guys can
signs that I
post.
normally would see.
Check that out real quick. Let me see if I can remember where to go.
And while Cami is doing that, I'm just going to add one quick thing. Brian, thank you very much for that home-based advisory welcome. And I do want to say that they do a very good job advocating for you out there and making sure that NCEES is there at the table and making sure that they're updating us with what they want to see. I think it's been a very positive thing to have your representatives there. So I hope you do reach out to them both to see what that you would like to have added, as well as kind of bounce ideas off of one another. So I think that they're very good resources for you. And thank you for serving, Brian.
Okay, guys. Try that link one more time.
It's working now, Cami.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you for pointing it out. I thought I made sure to change that to right access. There you go. Any successes that you've had in NCEES, please post those, or any other successes that you want to shout out about can go in your successes column. The challenges, anything been challenging you in NCEES since September, please list those over there. And then during our network time, if you guys have any mid-year tips for our new folks, or for our recently new folks, please list those here. Mid-year, what should they be doing at mid-year? Any top reports that you run that you'd like to share with the group. I know when we go face to face, this is always a big topic. What reports should I run? What do I need to be doing at mid-year? So if you could list a few of those, we'll actually save those and go over those at our networking time. And then as we go through our list, if there's anything DPI needs to act on, we'll add them to that last column. So I'll be quiet right now and give you time to type in there. So thank you. Okay, let's just take maybe one more minute and you guys can keep typing once we start reading over some of these. And if you want to talk about your note, please just put in the chat and well, I think are you guys good if I unmute you all and then you mute yourselves? Is that okay? Will you put yes in the chat?
This is Brian. Yeah, I like that idea.
Let me see if I can do that.
Okay, talk to somebody.
Okay,
Focus, got
everybody unmuted. So if you guys will mute.
get some investment. Hearing none from them folks. When you want your leg, exactly. I'm about sick of him too.
Hear my voice. You are muted. You need to press the space.
You hurry and get the remote.
I just ended up at 96%.
All right, I muted everybody back. Hang on, let me try this one more time. If everybody's paying attention, we're going to unmute everybody and see who's talking. We need to mute you.
Well, from what I'm hearing,
That I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
we were at 98.5. I need you to unmute me.
Extra 17.5%. Not Horatio. I'm sorry.
I don't need her to unmute me. Let me talk about
All right, let me see if I can find anybody else talking.
Gotcha.
You probably heard some of this too. People ask.
We're getting there.
They said no, just the
Just
license.
the licenses, which, I mean, even at,
All right, let's see.
I think
I think we've got everybody but one person.
Consuelo.
licenses for.
There we
That's the
go.
last one.
All right. That was fun.
So, quick tip: if you press the space bar, it will unmute yourself.
Yes, it's a temporary unmute. Thank you, Brian. Okay, so let's start going over our good news to share. We have Angela. I have attended these sessions before, but I'm a new district lead for NCEES in our county. Angela, do you mind telling us which county that is?
Rockingham County.
All right, welcome to Rockingham County and Angela. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And then we have another Angela that says all first observations are completed, and with a triple exclamation point. That's
Yay.
great. That must be Angela Cogdill.
Yes, it is.
All right. Debbie Saperstein. She's been using NCEES for about 7 years, new to the group. Welcome, Debbie. Do you want to say hi?
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right. All right. And then do you guys want to give a shout out, or I can just read quickly through the list who's here today? All right, I'm going to read names. I can't see what district you're from, but we have, looks like Angie Owens, Angela Cogdill, Angela Martin, Audrey Wagner, Billy Joe Harris, Brian, Cheryl Munn, Consuelo Babb, Connie, Dean Richardson, Deborah Saperstein, Elizabeth Roach, Gina Hutchins, Glenda Roberts, Jacqueline Hargrove, Jacqueline Leslie, Janice Deals, Jed Stuss, John Mars. I'm going to make you a panelist. He's on our team. And Kay Cowell, I don't know your first name. And let's see, Kathy Blankenship, Kathy Parker, Kim Hazelgrove, Kim Rudsell, Crystal Sanders, Kyle Worley, Latoya Langford, Lillian Rory, Lori Stacy, Marcia Kearns, Megan McNutt, Nicole McNeil, Quamisha Whitted Miller, Ray Thompson, Rhonda Davis. This is great. Ronette Deal, Sally Reynolds, Sherry Thomas, Stephen Foster, Stephen Martin, Tanya Willis, Tracy Kidd, Wendy Cabral. I don't know if I said that right, Wendy. I'm sorry about that. And then Willie Bridgers. All right. Thank you, guys. That's a great group to have today. All right. And then we'll move over to our successes. The training sessions offered virtually in the YouTube channel have been great resources. AP series has been great. Dr. Kim Simmons has been running those. Great for our new APs as it is a follow-up from their district training. This has been very well received. If you don't have an AP, if you have new APs and they've not started joining this, please do send them to our webinar signups on our NCEES Google site, and they can register for these AP sessions. It's always very informative. Kim gives them time to talk and ask questions, and then any questions they have from their current meeting, they get brought back up at their next meeting. NCEES is going well so far with the COVID concerns. Thank you to Robert for the helpful video on how to observe learning during this time of change. And that's Dr. Socks, and he does have a video out there on our Google site, and we'll talk about that. And there's Dr. Socks, so helpful when I have questions or issues to discuss. Dr. Socks is a great resource. I love working with Dr. Socks. And thank you for that comment that I'm quick to help when somebody reaches out to me. And yes, I do try to be very quick to get you answers that you need. And like Brian said, 99% of the time I can, and then the 1% we keep working on.
And you do such a marvelous job, Cammie.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Evaluators seem to be getting observation into the system with no issues. That's awesome. Yeah, good news. We worked really hard on getting the training out there and the system to work great. All right, and there's another appreciate the support when I'm stuck. And there's a 200 members Google group user forum. That's really good. And you guys go out there. Brian and Sally run that, and Robert and I jump in only when we need to. So you guys are great at answering each other.
Yep.
And then Clay County's new primary school opened today. That's cool. It's been a long road to get there. We're so blessed to have our new school. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, opening a new school this time of day. Yeah, it's really good. All right, let's go quickly over our challenges. Time goes by fast in these meetings. Need an easier way to copy observations. This is one we get by every time we have challenges. When someone starts and completes an observation, it's time consuming to change plan types. Yes, and we hope when we can finally get to upgrade the system to the new forms, a lot of will be a moot point because we'll have tested out a way to do this and have an easier way for you to change plan types. Too many clicks or steps for completing an observation. This is another one we get. We've reduced a lot of the number of click steps that you have. I think this is the final one. Oh, sorry. That we have brought up with the vendor, and it is on our enhancement list for when we go to those new forms. And then currently in observation can't be finalized unless every element is rated. This is another one we see every time because when you press save and the person can't finalize and it doesn't give them the word finalize. And then you have to go back down through all the boxes and all the elements, figure out which line they have not checked a box in because you need at least one box checked in each element. Yes, this is also one we're working with the vendor on a way to notify the user when they've missed an element. 3 years into NCEES, still intimidated by it, so I welcome any advice as to what I should be doing with media reports. So good, so stick around for our networking time and we'll go over some of those. And then I've recently become the district lead for NCEES and need to broaden my skills on the more advanced functions of being a district lead. Okay, good. Yes, so do go out there, watch our webinars, and you're welcome to office hours with me. Let me see who needs muted for a second. There's some background noise going on. Okay, I think I got it. All right, and we'll be glad to help you out. I do office hours at any time. Just go out there, email me, and I'll email you the link for that. And we also had this from last time. There should be a late hire PDP. Trying to get all 3 steps into a few months is difficult. Robert kind of answered this in that you can check, not look for, well, this is PDP. So let me ask, I was thinking about the evaluation. So let me get back to Robert on this one. And it does cost to create those plans. So we would have to see if that's worth adding to the budget and get some more input from our advisory board and all on that. All right, any comments before we move on? Okay, I don't see any coming in. Rhonda Davis, I see your comment. I'm not sure what you mean, which information, if that was the Padlet, or if you just want to unmute and ask a question, I'll be glad for you to. All right, and then the networking topics here, looks like we're going to be talking about the staff evaluation tab, observation start and end time reports, and other reports. So we'll look at those during networking. All right, thank you guys. That was awesome contribution. Appreciate that. Let me come back over here to our slide deck. And I do need to turn on captions. There we go. All right, and somebody else needs to be muted. Not finding. I think we're quiet now. Okay. All right, so let's go into our NCEES updates. Big question that was asked when people registered. That was the only question I saw out there. If you put some in this morning, I have not seen those yet, but I will go back and look and reply in our follow-up. So will there be an upgrade for NCEES? DPI has been working with the vendor PowerSchool towards a future upgrade to Forms 2.0 and Observations 3.0, and these have been documented in our past home-based meetups. This was put on hold due to COVID, and then there was just so much going on to also roll this out quickly and timely and efficiently and effectively to get in training and everything. It could not happen this past summer. And now it remains on hold due to the CIS RFP is still ongoing. PowerSchool CIS, Student Information System, is undergoing that RFP. And so we cannot not discuss anything else as far as an upgrade until this is completed. Okay. Premium Library, thank you to Alamance, Burlington, Bladen, Brunswick, and Cabarrus. They all piloted Premium Library and are currently using the free course, one of the free courses that is out there. We are looking now at an implementation in spring 2021. If you want to preview, there's a recording down there, the Premium Library, which is, of course, a place where you can purchase PD for your teachers in bulk or singly. And we are still working with, PowerSchool is still working with a vendor that's also going to offer some additional free courses. They hope to have all that wrapped up by the end of December. And then we're going to firm up our timeline on implementing this to production. So stay tuned for that. And then I'm going to share some slides that I shared with our advisory team. And so this is how many people are active in NCEES. 137,135 people are active in NCEES, and we currently have over 106,000 PDP plans in progress and over 111,600 evaluation plans in progress. And you can see the breakdown there. That's not how many are assigned, that's how many are in progress. As far as PD, we have seen an extreme jump in people using the NCEES PD system. So if you look on the left top number, PD completions for school year 2018-2019 was over 57,000. And then in 2019-2020, it was over 107,000. So there was an extreme jump in getting PD done in NCEES, and this is including the courses offered by DPI and the courses and learning opportunities offered by PSUs that are using their PD offices. And of course, you have to be opted into home base to be able to use your PD office. And then there's some numbers on enrollments. The enrollments after March 2020 went up to 103,000, 197, and completions after March 2020, so last year through this year, 77,000 PD completed since March. And then the bottom numbers are PD enrollments on the left and completions on the right to date for this school year, 2020-2021. So 55,000 enrollments and 32,000 completed. So already almost matching the number in 2018 and 2019. All right, any questions about this? All right, and then I always want to remind everybody, because I still get questions on how to do that remote and blended observation, learning observations. This is Dr. Sox's page that he and Dr. Kim Simmons built out. And there's the, if you go to that page, there's the link to the video that he created, the recorded presentation, to use the NCEES rubric to support the educator professional and instructional practices. So please do go out there to our Google site and view that. That's good for teachers, administrators, everybody to go view that video. And then we do have an issue with rt3nc.org. This is where educator support, back when it was a department at DPI, before it was dissolved, they built out this rt3nc.org page, and it lists self-paced courses that they created in the educator effectiveness department. It, for some reason, has now gone blank. If you still want to go find courses, if you were used to using this site, I do have a site, and this is layered on top of the RTC site on our Google site. I do have a list of courses that we have offered out there. So you can click on that. And there's the list right here. You can expand it. There's a little box out here to expand it. So we won't go through all that. You guys can do that if you're looking for PD. These are the courses that are published in the catalog in NCEES. All right, and then real quickly, I am wanting to form a NCEES user group. I ran this by our advisory board, and they were very on board with this, that we could call on monthly to work with our NCDPI and the NCEES home base and NCEES team. We were batting around some names, and we came up with nuggets, which I kind of laughed at first, but it works. So maybe we call the NCEES user, call it the nuggets, NCEES user group, and then we have to pick another G word. Guides, generates, grows is some I came up with. Effective stakeholders. So does anybody on our advisory board have any comments about this? What we would do is review our current system issues, solutions, meet with the vendor as needed to preview updates, upgrades, and betas, pilot and provide feedback. If we're piloting something, we may want to meet weekly. If we have a big issue, we may want to meet weekly, but mostly we'll meet monthly. And then communicate what we're doing with our stakeholders. So what I'm asking you guys, since you do come on to our homes, is if you're interested in your PSU being part of this group, we're going to pick about 9 to 10, I think, districts, and we'll have to large districts, small districts, etc., and pick people that will participate. So I'd like to know if you are interested for your PSU to participate in this group. Click that bottom link to fill out the interest form, and I'll put that in the chat. There. All right, so please do join us. Does anybody on our advisory board have any comments about that before I move on?
This is just another layer to get feedback from the field to help support. So I encourage you, please, feedback is our friend.
Yes. PowerSchool, the SIS team has been doing this for a while now, and it has worked out wonderfully.
I second that. This is Sherry. This is a great way for you to have personalized individual where we can just talk about it and run it up the chain if there's problems, issues, whatever.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, guys. All right. Real quick, because we got to get our training in. This is one of the things that we would probably talk about with that group. I get a lot of comments on this ad hoc reporting page that either the titles don't make sense, or we need new areas to report on. So this is one of our topics that would be for that group. And again, we're still working on the HR data in NCEES. Here's just a few slides. I'll be real quick about this because you can, I'll be working with your group. If your PSU is still having issues with things showing wrong in demographics, so like in the staff profiles, Their certification year is wrong. Their classification type is showing comprehensive when they're actually standard. So those kind of things, please do open a ticket. I'm following up with a few districts now. Let me get to the next page. This is our form that we use for the HR data that comes in the system. So if you're a link district or an HRMS district, this is already coming in, although you need to check with your district if they're sending the correct classifications. And yes, these are the old classification codes until we get back with the modernization and we can determine what those new codes should be. So career status, CLC, probationary CLP or CLB, temporary, unlicensed, those kind of codes right there determine what shows in NCEES. And emails come from PowerSchool. If they're not found in PowerSchool, it looks in Link. If it's not found there, it looks in the HR data. If you're not using HRMS or Link, this graphic on the right, you should use this to upload your HR data, these spreadsheets. And this is mainly probably some of our charters. Do ask me the questions before you do this so we can check. But if your information on your staff is not correct in NCEES, then we probably need to get you to upload this manually. And this just recently in the last month, HRMS did find that they needed to clean up several duplicates that were from previous districts that had HRMS that are no longer HRMS. This reduced the number of duplicates in the system from 6,000 to 1,800. So that cleaned up a lot of our issues, but not all. So we're going to work through those remaining issues. Currently, I have tickets with Buncombe, Cabarrus, and Brunswick, and that we're working through. So if you have issues still, go ahead and get those tickets in, and we'll work on those together. And we've also talked HR data because we don't really use it in the NCEES system, but there's a lot of connections that we're working with the vendor on before we attempt to hide anything. And then won't go over these, but these are our webinars. The next one is tomorrow, Human Resource Leadership with Kim Simmons and myself. And in the November, we'll have our Middle of Year webinars and an admin reporting in NCEES. All right, we did do a survey for the course requesters survey. People wanted their PD course requesters to be able to edit their course after it had been approved, where they could edit either at the section level or at the overall course level. And we surveyed you guys to determine which level you wanted that to be. And we determined that they should just be editing at the section level. That meant all the guesses that we saw turned in. Some people did want both the course and section, and then we had another group that only wanted a section, and we talked it over with Dr. Socks, and it was determined just to allow them to edit their section. That way they wouldn't be messing up any credits or anything like that, but they could edit locations and teachers and things like that. All right. The other thing was allowing people to withdraw from those instructor-led courses after it started, and that has also been done. So now anybody can withdraw from an instructor-led course up through the end date. And also enabled in an instructor-led course is now you can enable discussion boards. The instructor of the course becomes the moderator. So before you enable that discussion board, make sure you have an instructor who doesn't mind moderating a discussion board. So new, we've finally added that budget code 128. When we ran the report to see who was actually using 128 as a code, which is your reemployed retired teachers. We found people in Bladen, Mitchell, Pitt, and Washington this year were using those, but it is now available, and you can see it in the staff dashboards, the reemployed retired teacher. Also new September, we were having some status 500 errors. This has now been fixed. This one, I'm going to follow up on some more because you should be able to go schedule reports, but it looks like it's using FTP, which you guys don't have access to our FTP system statewide. So I want to make sure that this is available to you guys. It looks like people were using it up through 2018. and then stop using it. So I'm going to get some more information and have this at our admin webinar in December. A further update. It is fixed. So if you're able to schedule those reports to run on a scheduled basis, monthly, weekly, then I would like to hear from you and work with you to make sure we're going to train that right in December. Evaluator viewing evaluatee notes and artifacts in the principal plans. This has been fixed for the most part. They have to go to the data collections and view artifacts and notes, evaluators do. Currently, if a self-assessment of a principal is shared with you, you can go view the shared self-assessment, but the notes is not available from the menu. So we're still working on that with PowerSchool, and they're having some kind of glitch with that one. So that one's ongoing as they try to determine why they can't make that notes show to the evaluator. But those same notes are available in the data collections channel under artifacts and notes in the principal plan. And then other new, we got these links fixed on your My Staff page. So on your My Staff page on the left under options are all staff, staff details, and evaluations. All staff was not showing correctly. So it was actually showing under evaluations. So we got it correctly showing under all staff. And again, this is where you can go view who has started or not started their plans. If you have access, you'll see these drop downs next to people's names right here on the bottom left of the graphic. And if you see the word start, they've not started their plan. If you see the word edit, they have started their plan. You can also email people individually on this page by clicking on their email, and you have search options. And if you have access to more than one school, you'll need to select it at the top. And then the other link was this evaluations link. So this now correctly shows what it should, the evaluations, and you will need to select your school, select the plan type. So this is where you can go see everybody that's been assigned the abbreviated plan type, the comprehensive, the principal. Just change the plan type here, and then you can get the drop down list here. And from here, you're supposed to be able to edit, print, or archive the entry. Site administrators can also see this, but they do not see the archive entry link. Only the district administrator. All right, and then we've also fixed the peer observation to show in the observation scoring summary. And I'm sorry this is going so fast, but I wanted to get into our training. So if you want to stop me, just put something in the chat and we'll go review over it. So the peer observation now does show if it's been done in a plan that is optional in. So in abbreviated plan, it was optional, and it was not showing because our abbreviated plan is on a different rubric because it only has the two standards. So now it does show the formal observation peer. Again, this is optional for your evaluator at the end of the year to let that inform the summary information. They can always turn it off by unchecking under the by column. See the blue boxes by names here. If it's got a blue check mark, then it will show in the tallies below. If you've unchecked it, then it will not show in the tally below. And just a reminder, if you want some training accounts, this is the link to our training site, and there's the link to the spreadsheet. You just need to sign up your name beside one of the groups of training accounts. So I give you a district admin, a principal, and teachers and support staff in that group. And please do go check out our YouTube playlist. We will be posting, even today's session will be out there, hopefully in the next day or so, and we'll get that linked out. We will, somebody asked earlier, how quickly will this be posted? It should be, I should have it up there by tomorrow, if not by the end of today. So just watch out there for that. And then at the end of the week in the newsletters, we will post all the links to all the HBMUs that went on this week. And again, check out our Facebook page. All right. Just a reminder, if you are still looking to assign access rights, and I'm still getting questions about peers and mentors and all that, Here's the link to how to assign rights to the teacher support staff plans, and that's your evaluator, observer, peer observer, mentor, or view only. Sign those access rights to principal plans. Remember, this moved over to the actual plan. You have to open it up. The DA is the only one that can do this. Go to the access rights tab and assign the evaluator, contributors, observers, view only, or reopen admin. Phew. All right, so it's 10:52. Any questions before we get into the training portion today? And in the interest of time, if you're new, please do ask the question and we'll go to the live site. But in the interest of time, we'll probably stick to the slides so you can have your networking time. Okay, don't see any questions coming in. All right, so we're getting ready. You guys are getting ready soon to do your middle of year activities, if not in December or maybe January, somewhere around there. So we're going to look at those. And I just pulled some slides from last year's presentation for middle of year. So some of the dates on some of these slides don't pay any attention to. The steps are still the same. And you can find your help guides for each of these plans and the evaluation plans under the help guides tab. They are listed. There's a guide for your evaluators and observers, and then there's a guide for the staff and the teachers. So make sure they get the correct guide. There's screenshots for each step. So here is your observation 2, screenshot on the left. And let me get my pointer. All right, right here on the left. And just a quick information, looking at these, not everybody knows that on the actual main activity of the plan is an area to email. So if you're getting ready to do a formal observation with somebody, you can email them saying, hey, reminder, this is our meeting time. If you click in here and you can't access it and you see this circle with the letter I in it, it means something has to be done before this activity opens up. So this probably needs something done. Maybe observation 1 is not complete yet. So if you hover over the I, it will tell you what needs to be done. And this is also in your PDP mid-year review, these same icons. The PDP mid-year review also has a print icon here that you can print the activity. All right, let's get into that teacher evaluation process. And Kim usually does this during our webinars, so I will just quickly read over this, and do join us in December for a thorough explanation of these. But during mid-year, you're going to be looking at component 5 and component 6 in step 3 of the observation cycle. And component 5, this is for formal observation, is 45 minutes, or informal is at least 20 minutes. For teachers with less than 3 years of employment, they'll be on the observation comprehensive evaluation cycle. And teachers with more than 3 years can be on the standard or the abbreviated. If they're in their renewal year, they'll be on the standard evaluation cycle. So that's what I just read. We're going by that. This is all found in the teacher evaluation manual on page 21. And then component 6 is the post-observation conference, where the principal does conduct a post-observation no later than 10 school days after each formal observation. Very important. If it's longer than 10 school days, Kim always says it's not of much value after that, and that the observation should be repeated so that when that evaluator meets with their staff, they'll have current information and artifacts and data to discuss with that staff. All right, and then those conversations, just I don't know who's training your evaluators, but those post-observation conversations should be linked back to the descriptors, not the rating category. So remember, when you're doing observations, they're not developing and so on. They are showing what they know, showing what they do, things like that. So make sure when those conversations happen that that teacher doesn't feel like they're getting rated at this time. The rating comes at the end of the year with the summary evaluation. And here's just a quick guide to show you what part of the evaluation process we're in. And we've highlighted the mid-year steps here for the comprehensive cycle. You know, you've got the formal observation with the conference right here. And then the standard evaluation cycle just has one. And abbreviated, you're doing standards 1 and 4 on those formal or informal observations. All right, so we want the staff to reopen their evaluation plan, and they navigate into the system to My Evaluation. This page does look a little different this year because now you can see send your staff announcements, and they'll see it on this page as well. And then they have links to starting plans, so they should be past this step. So now we want to re-enter a plan, and now it does have the title in blue, so they can re-enter. So they just click on the title. They're looking for their activities to be complete, and that's with the green circle. If it was completed and reopened, it will have an orange circle, or if it's almost complete, there are a couple that show orange, but mostly if it's been reopened, it shows the orange circle. If they've placed it in progress, it shows the blue flower with the little gray section on it. And if they've not started an activity, it will remain in gray. So we're getting through to the midpoint of the year, and our goal is to get to the end of the year. And what opens that summative container? On a late hire plan, you only need at least one, that first observation, to open up the summative. Abbreviated, you need 2. Standard, you need 3 observations. And comprehensive, you need 3 observations plus the peer observation. The observation cycle steps, it starts here with the principal. If the pre-observation is required, that starts with the principal, and then the pre-observation is acknowledged by the teacher or support staff. It then goes to the formal or informal observation, depending on the plan type, with the principal. That's theirs to do. And then they do the post-observation conference. We recommend that you leave this step open until you have that post-observation conference so that they can update that rubric or anything, any comments in there while they're having the conference. And it also allows maybe the teacher some time to send in a written response or to provide during your conference some artifacts that you can add to the notes before you complete the system activity for the formal and informal observation. And it's very easy to do, to leave that open and have that conference. Then you can complete that when it's ready, and then both of you acknowledge and sign off on that post-observation conference. Teachers do have a written response that they can use, and then the principal or evaluator must acknowledge that written response. And then finally, once everything's good, the activity gets locked. All right, any questions about that so far? So let's complete those evaluation activities for mid-year. Here we are, and we've clicked into a staff's plan, and we're going to observation 2. And you do need to watch for the required steps. They must be done before you can move on right here. So complete the formal observation here, number 2. This is a comprehensive plan. Notice that the pre-observation is not required for observation 2. You can use it if you want. Once you click into there, they need to edit the written, this is written response, sorry about that. This is what the teachers do with their written response. They need to click into it, click edit. It's going to open up this comment box. They can enter any comments, and they can attach files. Okay. Same thing on the same page. If they have artifacts that they want to attach, they can also edit that section. And then notice in the middle, this will all email the evaluator, and then the evaluator must acknowledge and change that no to a yes. Okay, any questions? That is your evaluation forms. I know we went through that pretty quick. Does anybody need to see anything in the live site? Okay. All right, so we're going to move into the professional development plan for teacher and support staff. Professional development plans, teachers are on individual growth plan, monitored growth plan, or directed growth plan. I've linked your guides down below, and I have finally got the professional development plan evaluator guide. The upgraded one evidently was on my old computer and is now posted. So now your evaluators have a guide that has correct screenshots in it. It's posted on the website as well. And I apologize for that. I thought I had updated it and it just never got posted. So it is posted now. Do give those to your evaluators. All right. And the PDP type is set under My Staff. You can change that during the year. If you notice if somebody's on individual and they need to be on monitored or directed, this can be changed. We suggest you do put a note in the PDP under the teacher background area that this change has happened. It will show on reports the correct plan type, individual, monitored, or directed, but it doesn't like put a big flag up that you've done this. So we always suggest that you document it with notes, either in the rubrics or in that teacher background. And there's just a real quick review of the different types of different types of PDP plans. Individual PDP, you're rated proficient or higher on all standards. The teacher actually sets the individual goals for growth, and then you meet 3 times a year with the evaluator, beginning, mid, and end of year. Monitored means you've been rated developing on 1 or more standards the year before. This is not recommending people for dismissal, demotion, or non-renewal. The administrator and teacher meet to discuss and set the goals. So the teacher and the evaluator can both work on setting those goals. And then the directed plan, somebody has received a not demonstrated on any standard and been rated developing on 1 or more standards for 2 consecutive years. This also is not a recommendation for dismissal, demotion, or non-renewal. So we really stress that. This is for growing your teachers. So the administrator in this case would be the one to set the goals for the teachers based on their observation and documentation. All right, and then they have 1 school year or less to reach proficiency. This is determined by your LEA. And here's the observation cycle for your PDP. This one does start with the teacher or the support staff. Principals PDPs are not in NCEES. If you do some type of PDP, I believe that form is on the Google site, but only teachers and support staff have their professional development plans in NCEES as a separate plan. And then next, the evaluator signs off on those. And then the mentor, if required, has to sign off. And then it goes back to the teacher or support staff for their signature. Once everything's in place, everybody's working on their goals, you lock that activity. So here's what the system looks like to reopen that PDP plan. Again, we go to My Evaluation and find the professional development plan. Click on the blue title, which is a link to open up the plan. All right, so then to get into the plan, evaluators go to open a plan, they get the PDP plan, they find the green checks are in place for the self-assessment, the PDP initial review, and they can open the PDP mid-year review. Once you've opened this mid-year review, you're going to see your activities. You have the PDP details mid-year review, the evaluator signature, the mentor signature, teacher signature that we just showed on that observation activity, and then the locking status. So if you click, excuse me just a minute, click into the PDP details mid-year review, the teacher completes this. They're going to click on new, and they're going to add any additional goals. They don't have to, but you can. do watch for those mid-year, those asterisks that show what's required. Here's the help guide, a page from the help guide. So you're going to click anywhere in there. They're going to click new that I just talked about, and then they're going to enter any evidence of progress towards specific standards of elements to be addressed or enhanced. They should answer yes or no to if they've reviewed student growth with their evaluator, and then they can enter any comments and attach any files. They can click save and exit to return to the activity. And then they can scroll down to enter any new teacher strategies. These are new goals for mid-year. Again, that's optional, but they can, once they click into it, they must complete, if they've added a new goal, they must then complete goals, activities, actions, the expected outcomes, the resources needed, and their timeline, so that those are all required little boxes. So make sure they complete those. In the PDP is a PDP record of activities. You also find record of activity reports in your evaluations as well. And these can be printed by anybody at any time that has access to the plan. So in the PDP, there's the initial review report. There's a mid-year review report. And these are just for individual staff if you're printing them from here. There's the end of year, and then there's the overall. Okay, I don't see any questions coming in. This is going pretty fast. All right, training for the middle of year activities on the principal, assistant principal plans. So this is a page that Kim always shows to show the principal evaluation process. Anything that's written in red is a required document that has to be done. Anything in green is any optional forms that can be used to inform the principal evaluation process. And anything in black is a required process. So each of these that are in black are required processes. We would be in step 4 and step 5 for the principal evaluation process for mid-year. And that's going to be your data collection, where the principal collects data that has been agreed upon as evidence to support the goals that they set. And there's a form over here that they can use as optional to document site visits and conference dates and such as that. And then there should also be a superintendent designee visit, whoever is evaluating that principal. And then the mid-year conference will happen. This is a meeting to discuss the progress of the goal attainment, and school-wide student growth data should also be available for review. And then there's another, the form here, progress toward achieving goals form. This is used by the evaluator to document the progress of the principal. And again, these are found on your NCEES Google site. I'm going to stop just a minute because I think I saw a question come in. All right, it says, I would love it for comprehensive PDPs. The teacher and or principal cannot lock the activity until the mentor signs. Can this be suggested to the vendor? Yes, this has been suggested to the vendor. Our issue is that not everybody on a comprehensive plan is a beginning teacher, and only the beginning teacher needs that mentor signature. Sometimes people hire staff that are seasoned staff new to their district, and they must go through the comprehensive plan process or the standard plan process to get all those in. If they want them on a comprehensive, the peer must be completed on the other staff as well, but it's not required. And because of that reason, we can't have the locking activity to look and not lock the whole channel, the whole activity channel. Everybody on that plan is required to have a mentor. I hope that answers your question right now. We did put a note out there on that activity, on the lock activity, to please don't lock this until you verified if this is a beginning teacher's plan, is the mentor signature in place. So that was new this year. We did add that. Okay, getting back to the principal plan, The big question is what adjustments need to be made at mid-year. Here's a picture of the optional forms. This is for that required meeting, and notice that they'll be discussing the standards and any goals. And then they both sign off on the form, the principal and the evaluator. Here's a questions tool that Kim has come up with. She always has the most awesome documents out there. If you give these to your principals and evaluators ahead of time, they can prepare and they'll have questions to ask, and the principal will be prepared to answer any of those questions during the conversations that they have for the evaluation process. All right. And Angela, I will get to your question in just 1 second. Let's finish up with the principal and then we'll answer that question about comprehensive. So here are the guides for the evaluator and for the principals themselves, linked here on this page. They're also posted in NCEES. And they too go to My Evaluation, and then they click on their link on their plan because it's now been started. They can click on the title to get back into it. So what needs to happen for the evaluator and the principal? What do they need to prepare for? For the evaluator, they need to prepare to supervise the principal or AP evaluation process. They need to identify the strengths and areas for improvement for their principal. They need to make those recommendations for improving performance, and they need to ensure that they are recording accurate information. The principal or AP needs to prepare for that initial meeting. They need to complete their self-evaluation. They need to identify their performance goals that they're trying to meet, identify any change initiatives, and then always be gathering data, artifacts, or evidence to support meeting those goals, and develop and implement strategies to improve their personal performance while attaining their goals. And then do complete that mid-year and final evaluation conference with their supervisor or evaluator. And here's the screenshot of a principal plan. You're looking for green checks on orientation, pre-evaluation planning, which includes the self-assessment, and the initial meeting. Data collection here contains the rubric and information to be collected, the data to be collected. And then there's the mid-year conference channel to complete that activity. So here's your data collection. Here's where the artifacts and notes that we discussed earlier that we were having an issue with those notes showing up. They are now showing up here under data collection, artifacts and notes. They'll click in there. The evaluator or the principal can enter a note here. The evaluator is not shown on this screen. They also have in this channel an evaluator's note screen that they can enter notes that the principal does not see. But this one up here, artifacts and notes, is for both parties to see. And then, of course, there's the rubric that the principal will be observed on. Going into the mid-year conference, this channel has been opened for the performance goal mid-year updates. Again, watch for these required fields. When you've clicked on the mid-year updates, the evaluator clicks on them. They can edit those. The principal, notice this mid-year evaluation date is required. So right now it says not set, it needs to be set. So you just need to click edit. And then once that's done, the next step is to make sure those goals had been set and any updates for mid-year need to be done. So look at the performance goals for the beginning of year. If they need to be edited, you can edit them. If not, if you want to set new goals for mid-year, those can also be done by clicking new in the container that has the mid-year goals. Notice that at least at the beginning or mid-year, you need to at least have one goal that aligns with human resource leadership. So it must be set. All right. Any questions about principal plans? All right, so I'm going to ask the group to help answer Angela. Her question is, shouldn't new employees to the district, should they be on a teacher standard, not comprehensive? So if maybe a couple of you can speak up as to what you do in your district. I know some districts put them on comprehensive and others put them on standard. Maybe you can explain why. Each district has their own rules about this. So if anybody would like to comment on that, please. If you need to be unmuted, just put in the chat and I'll unmute you. I don't know if Brian or Angela or anybody else can answer that, Dean.
We put here.
This is Sally Reynolds. Can you hear me, Tammy?
Yes. Hey, Sally. And then we'll get
Okay,
Sherry.
so my understanding is that that's a local decision. In Wake County, anyone who's new to Wake County has a comprehensive plan for 3 years. And so they have peer observations for 3 years to maximize the feedback that they're getting as they are learning, North Carolina curriculum, if that's new, or any of the county resources and guidelines that we have.
And this is Brian and Buncombe. We do the same thing as Wake.
Okay.
And Grant, if they're an experienced teacher within North Carolina, we put them on a standard their first year. And then pending their summary rating form for the following year, whether it's standard or abbreviated.
Same thing in Guilford. If they are not a beginning teacher and they're new to our district, they go on a standard.
Okay. And then I see Watauga and Stephen Martin has responded. We put all new teachers to the district on comprehensive for the first 3 years. I think that's what Wake is doing. And this includes beginning teachers as well as teachers who have been veterans in other North Carolina districts or out of state. So hope that answers your questions, Angela, about what your district should be doing. Maybe take that question back to your district and see what their policy is. As far as what your new teachers that are experienced, what they are assigned, which plan type. So thank you guys for that input. That's awesome. I always appreciate that interaction. All right, so we're going back to group networking, group topics. And that was, let me go back to our Padlet. And we'll actually go to the live site if you'd like. This is where I want you guys to have some input about what you're doing mid-year. So, caution when using the completion report on the staff evaluations tab. The container will show complete when the observation is filled out but not locked. If you're looking for locked indicators, use the ad hoc report. So I will show you that. All right, let me go home. So when you're in NCEES and you go to staff evaluations, you have a report here under the graph icon. It's a reporting menu and it's the evaluation completion. And I may wish I didn't. Okay. So you need to choose a plan type. Choose one of these. Trying to decide what to do here. Let's see. Maybe let me see if I can run this as a. I don't want to show you.
Actually, Cammy, this is Sally. I'm going to put that comment in. Okay. And what I was when you do the CSV just from this staff evaluation page.
Oh, the CSV. Okay.
Well.
Okay.
But I think that you'll find when you go into the complete report that you were going into, there is actually a field for locked that will show. So maybe you show both.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get it to run. To see if I have anything in there that will run. Let's see. So staff evaluations. All right, let me zoom out real quick. All right, I have some activities that have completed on my test people here. and Sally was downloading the CSV. And yes, this does not show locked. It only shows if it's completed. And then let's look at the evaluation completion. Let me see what I got in here. I got PDP and I got a standard. Let's try the standard. So evaluation completion. I'm going to choose the standard plan. I'm going to deselect all of these. I don't want to run all of those. And I would just want to see where I'm at. There's the lock right there. So I'm clicking on, maybe I just want to go through number 2. All right, so we'll just do through number 2 activities, observation activities, refresh my page. All right, and yes, this should show, here's your lock. So you can use this report. You can also use the ad hoc report to see the lock activities. Notice this one, my first person is in progress. My second person hasn't really started anything. Only the overall status is in progress, but no activities are in progress yet. And then this user 3, the lock has for observation 1 is started. You can drill down into any of these to get an overall view of where people are at. The blue is in progress, the orange is not started, and the greens are complete. Okay. It just gives you some percentages. And then you can always, I'll drill those up, print this out to get a list. And there's your download CSV. All right, let's see if we can come here. The other place Sally was talking about was under reporting, and Sally, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have created a lock activity quick report. So we have our quick reports and activity lock report. Select the year. Click next. We're going to select 2020, 2021 and click next. And then click done. Choosing the year is new this year. And we'll let that run. Shouldn't take long with the small group I have. Give that a minute. Let me look at your question while that's running. All right. I see some comments from Charlotte Mick, what they do. People that are new to the district, they go on comprehensive for 1 year and then standard or abbreviated per their experience. And that's what Angela says their district does. Only the BTs get comprehensive. Others get standard plans, yes. Or until they're comfortable with using abbreviated. All right, and then in Thomasville, new to the district teachers with a continuing license go on to standard plan. And then we have a question about the mentor is on the PDP, not the comprehensive evaluation plan. So we'll take a look at that. All right, so here's my report, and you can download CSV right here. All right, so let's go look at a comprehensive plan. And maybe I misspoke. Let me go look at that. Trying to find one that I've done. Let's try. Response. Yes, did I say, so Eleanor, did I say comprehensive plan when we were talking about the mentor signature? If I did, I think I meant PDP. That was a good catch. Let's look at PDP. And And there's your mentor signature. So yes. But mentors are required for people that are on comprehensive plan. And that's no problem, Eleanor. So the mentor signature is kind of connected to the comprehensive plan because aren't mentors required for your beginning teachers? Is that right, guys?
Actually, Cammie, the mentors are only required for beginners.
Yes.
So if you're someone like Wake and Buncombe where you're putting against teachers who are new on a comprehensive plan, but they have experienced other places, they would get a mentor.
They don't get the mentor signature, yes. Yep, so that's why it's not, you can lock the plan without the mentor signature being in place because you do have people on that comprehensive plan who would not have a mentor. So I guess it's kind of overlapping. This is the PDP, but yes, the mentor signature is in your PDP, but it's affected by people that are beginning teachers. They are required that mentor signature. Okay. Come back out here. All right, any questions about how to navigate to those two report types and what's out there? All right, then we have somebody that likes the observation start and end times reports. So we'll go look at that. And that is also found under reporting. You made this bigger. And we're going to do a quick report. And these first reports are the ones you're going to run at the end of the year. It's your evaluation summaries. The observation start and end times right here. And then whoever put that comment would like to unmute and talk about why you like this report, that'd be great. And we're going to click done once we select the year. And hopefully it won't take too long to run. Does anyone else like to use that report at mid-year? The observation start and end times. It's kind of important because they need to last a certain amount of time if they're formal or informal. And they also need to take place within 10 days of the pre-observation conferences. So there's what the report looks like. And again, you can download a CSV. Looks like it includes, let's see if I can get this. The administrator's name, the teacher or support staff's name, the plan that they're on, the activity that we're looking at, the date of the observation, and how long did it happen. Okay. And then I like to run the comprehensive reports and then filter them by school so the principals can see what they're missing at this point of year. And we have a comment on that one that says the reporting tool is a great resource for administrators to stay ahead of the timelines. Yes, your site administrators, your principals, they can run these reports. Or if you're a large district and you've given an AP, site administrator access, they can run those reports. The results are restricted by who they have access to. So remember that. Come back. And we're going to go to reporting. And who put in that comment? Is this where you went to run your comprehensive report? Was it a quick report? There is a nice one out here. This evaluation, I want to say it's this one, evaluation completion exception report. Let me look at that real quick. It very quickly lets you see what's been completed and what's in progress. Also, it's compared to the evaluation report that we saw on the staff evaluations page. Let's see if this loads up pretty quick. This is it. So it's going to list your person, the plan type that they're on, Have they completed their orientation? Have they completed their pre-observation conference? Here's not started, completed, not started. Here's one that's in progress. So this is a great report to see which activities are in progress. Sometimes it will show blank, and I think it's because maybe it's not a required step in whatever plan type they're on. Like right here, we have some blanks.
And Cammie, this is Brian in Buncombe. This is one of my favorite reports, if not the favorite, my favorite report to run. If you're familiar with a count if, this is a great way to do a count if function in Excel. And anybody who wants to learn more about that, feel free to reach out to me. I've got a link to a previous reporting thing that I did. Essentially, it does a count if, so that it takes the number of people at one of your schools and it counts the number of completes, and it turns it into a nice chart that you can send out to all of your principals.
Oh, that's cool, Brian. Nice. Thank you for that comment. And you have Brian's email from your chat earlier and in the slides. Or hit him up on Google, NCEES Google site. NCEES Google group, sorry. All right, so let me go back. Is there any other reports you guys would like to look at today that you use? Oh, and he put it in the chat. So Brian has posted his count ifs. All right, and then I see we've had some additions to our DPI action items, so we'll talk about that real quick. If you guys don't have any other questions for your networking time, we still have about 30 minutes, so you got time to talk to each other, ask any questions that you want to talk about. Does anybody that's new on here or anybody that's been in NCEES for a while have any questions about mid-year and what we should be doing right now? All right, so while you're thinking about those, let's look and see what's been added here. Change the titles on staff evaluation columns. Role and plan are not intuitive to all school users. Could the titles be changed to assigned plan and active plan? I think that's a great idea, Sally. If anybody else has any comments to add to that Padlet, to that note, please do. I did change it over to plan because I forget what it was named before, but it didn't make any sense at all. So I changed it to plan. But assigned plan is a great title, so I don't mind bringing that up at all. It's very easy, I think, for them to change those. And then role. Yeah, let me look at that. We're in staff evaluations. And it does show the plan, so you're correct. So let me ask about that one as well, and I'll run that one by Robert as well. I don't have any problem changing this first one to assigned plan, but yes, this next one could definitely fit what you have suggested. Active plan, because it is listing the plan. If it says not selected, that's coming from your My Staff page. A plan type has not been selected. So that is the active plan. You're very correct. Yes. Yeah, I don't see any reason why we can't change that, but I'll run all that by Robert as well. Any comments about that? Anybody else? All right, I see we have a question coming in. And it's from Eleanor, it looks like. When are folks shifting over to the late hire plan? Does anybody want to comment on when you do that in your district? I know some people wait, I think 200 days. Others have a certain date that they start setting those late hire plans.
In Guilford County, we basically a rule of thumb, if they're hired before Christmas, they go on the standard plan types. It's usually about December 8th or 9th that the plan type is, but normally you don't hire anybody after about December 8th or 9th. So when I train my principals, I tell them basically anybody you hire after Christmas goes on the late hire.
Thank you, Sherry.
February the 1st for Granville County.
Okay. And I see Brian has put in the chat, when there are less than 129 days in the school year, they go on the late hire. And Sally says after the date in which they would be able to work 120 days. We have several different calendars, so those dates change on their calendars.
And Cami, Alamance Burlington is the same as what Sally mentioned there. We look at if they would have 120 days of teaching in the school year, and if they don't, they would be on the late hire.
Okay, nice. All right, and then, thank you guys. Not sure if Lillian, if you were answering, let me read what you wrote. Is this Union County, Lillian? Beginning teachers and student support personnel with less than 3 years of verified experience. Okay, this is answering the previous question. Are placed on their comprehensive plan. Experienced teachers are placed on the standard plan during the first year with the district. Teachers may move to the abbreviated plan in their second year with contingent upon successful completion of their first year. Experienced teachers in renewal year must be evaluated on a standard plan, correct? Using this flexibility allows administrators more time to focus on the beginning teachers. Thank you, Lillian. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. And Sally, you also put a comment out there on DPI action items to remove those demographics from NCEES plans. Yes, they were reluctant to do that this year. Maybe this is something we can do at end of year. They didn't want to disconnect anything in reports that should not be disconnected. So we are checking out all those interconnections to the tables before we start hiding anything. All right. Okay, and CMS also uses the 120-day rule. So it's much earlier in this year due to the shifted school year schedule. Okay, this is your networking time. Is there anything else you want to network about? Okay, we're going to run through a few more slides and then we'll be wrapping up our day this morning. Okay, here is your list of contacts. You saw your list of advisory board members earlier when Brian introduced everybody. Here are your DPI contacts in the center. Dr. Dietrich, who is our home-based manager, and myself, who does the system side of NCEES, and then Dr. Sachs and Dr. Simmons, who do the policy side of NCEES. And yes, please do update our contacts. You can open up a ticket, especially if they need to be able to put in tickets. I would open up a support ticket. And also email Yolanda Wilson at DPI. She contacts the people that update this site to update your contacts. Okay. Here's our NCEES Google site page, so please do go check that out. You know, we have that new COVID page out there and our webinars and everything else. The rest of the week for our meetups, if you're joining SchoolNet, PowerSchool, Learning.com, Canvas, or Go Up and NC, they're all informative, so please join us if you can. Then we're going to meet next in February. We're kind of anticipating this to be virtual, but stay tuned. Maybe that last one we can do a face-to-face. The virtual has pretty well with attendees. I do like that face-to-face so we can get those conversations going a little more. But I appreciate everybody that's jumped on today and answered questions or contributed comments. I think this is great. And then again, here's our team. So if you need to email any of us, each one of our names is an email link. And there in the top right corner, I'm going to copy this if you would like a certificate for today, please fill out our feedback, and we want feedback whether you want a certificate or not. So please fill out our feedback. We always learn from that, and we always appreciate all good and bad feedback. Not bad maybe, but room for improvement feedback. Please do put that in there. We always read every bit of it, so, and learn from it. So thank you. Any further questions from you guys before we wrap up today? All right, you're welcome. I see. Thank you for an informative session, and everybody take care and be safe. Have a blessed day. All right, and you guys, I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving too. So go enjoy your day and go enjoy your families next week. Thank you all.